Look who's here now, Kevin O'Leary joining me. Kevin, a trade deal with Canada. Seems to me it's all about energy. Is that the way you see it?
Yep, that's how I see it. And that's talking about a 30-day deal. It boils down to what matters the most in every aspect of economy. You need energy security, but you also, as you can see, what's going on in just the last 48 hours, it's all about AI and data centers. The country that has the energy has the AI, has the economy, has the productivity, and eventually is superior in warfare. This is all going to go to drones and robotics one day, and the country with the best AI. Now, there's a piece of policy that's happened over the last 48 hours that's starting to really freak me out, Stuart, about AI. We have to let the chips that come out of NVIDIA, that come out of Amazon, AWS, that come out of AMD, we have to let those chips go everywhere in the world because they are the queen bee. You have to think about AI as you got the queen bee, that's the chip, and then the ecosphere around it are the honeybees. There's only going to be two kinds of honey in the world, Chinese honey and American honey. Do you want countries making Chinese honey? Because as we speak, I'm hearing about these deals Huawei's cutting with a new G6 chip that has AI built in. They're going to flood the market with that in every country that we do not allow our chips to go into. That is insane policy. We need to make the honey. Stuart, it's all about the honey. Who makes the honey? Those are millions of programmers that use the queen bee chip to determine how to build out AI. It's got to be American honey. That's the deal.
Point taken. And let me switch gears for a minute. Israel and Iran. Should we send bunker-busting bombs to Israel? And what would the market's response be if we did send those bombs and they were used on Fordo?
This is the 1,000-pound bomb in the room right now because there's two sides to this story. The instability of what happens and what can Iran do? And that's the question. Will we have a spike in oil price? If we drop that bomb on this facility, and we just don't know if it's going to take it out or not, and I say we, is that a Western coalition? Does everybody agree on this? Or is this just an American-Israel mandate? I mean, these are huge questions that are up. And if I were the Iranian people right now, I think I'd ask myself, is this good policy my government's putting forward, or should we cut a deal el pronto before we get wiped out here? Because I think part of what Israel's trying to do is destabilize that, it's obvious, and get the Iranian people to do what the Arab Spring was years ago. And all of that's destabilizing for markets. And so I'd like to see this get out of the way because the economy's doing quite well now. I don't wish a bomb that size to fall on anybody, but that's what's being held out there right now. That's what you and I are talking about. That's what the market's watching by the hour. And by Trump getting on that plane and leaving Alberta, that pushed up the rhetoric.
It did. And he's in the Situation Room, for heaven's sake, where you watch the action unfolding overseas. You can't help but think that something is going on and it's going to happen soon. But Kevin, let me just change the subject one more time. We've got a new poll from Gallup. It shows that AI in the workplace has almost doubled in the last 2 years. 40% of employees say they use AI at least a few times a year. Well, look, you have various companies that you control. Are you using AI? And if so, how are you using it?
100%, Stuart. And I'll tell you how it's being used right now. Forecasting CapEx in every consumer goods company. I often use the wine example. We now know what varietals sell in what states and what we have to grow. And we also check weather patterns using AI to determine whether we should buy a bladder of wine or grow it. You know the wine business too. But the biggest productivity enhancement for large and small businesses together is content generation. The idea of generating an agent, an AI Kevin that can be in every business at every time that I control. And that is becoming a reality. That's what that trip was to the UAE, because it's US first in spending, then it's China, and now it's the UAE third in spending. But I'm telling you, this goes back to our conversation about the queen bee and the honey. I'm really concerned that we must get these chips, flood the market with these chips, so that every programmer is making American honey. American honey. I got to go to the Hill soon. I got to talk about American honey because it's freaking me out. I don't want to see any Chinese honey in my companies.
Give them hell, Kevin. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks for being with us today. See you soon.
Take care.
All right.